7 months ago, I made one of my most successful videos yet, and that was 5 things that you shouldn't be doing in RuneScape. Things that are just not that good to do. Because RuneScape's a confusing place to be, let's be honest. There is so many things to learn, and there's so many mistakes to be made. While you do learn from mistakes, maybe I can help you with some of my mistakes and regular mistakes that I see, so you don't even have to make them, but you still get to learn. So in this video, we're going to go through 5 more things that you shouldn't do in RuneScape. Hopefully after this video, you can avoid these things and have your experience be a little bit better as well. If you guys can think of any other things that you shouldn't do in RuneScape, then leave them in the comments down below. Maybe I will use it in a future video. With that being said, if you enjoy the video, leave a like. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new around here, or check that you're subscribed anyway. And other than that, let's get started. I am incredibly excited to let you guys know that today's video is sponsored by Flexispot. Flexispot sent me out their E7 desk to try out for myself. This is a standing sitting desk, one that if as a push of a button will raise up and you can get out of your chair, you can stretch your legs, and you can work while you're stood up. Not only that, look at it, look at the desk. It is absolutely freaking beautiful. It is a big size desk that I chose because I like a lot of workspace, but it does come in all different sizes. Not only that, you can customize the worktop and the actual stand of the desk as well. I went for the dark grey frame with the white worktop, as I feel like it just looks a hell of a lot nicer with my setup. What do you guys reckon? But of course, the main feature of the E7 standing sitting desk is that you can sit down and then at a push of a button, as you can see, the desk rises up and you can now be working stood up. This is a lifesaver for me and a absolute game changer for while I am working, because I spend almost 12 to 16 hours a day sat in my chair, but not anymore. Now, whenever I am editing, I can press my number 2 on my presets, it will stand up and I can continue on editing. If I want to sit back down because I'm playing games or maybe I'm recording more stuff, I press number 1 and down the desk goes and I can get back in my chair. For anyone who does spend a long amount of time sat at their computer, and we know you guys, you RuneScapers, do like to do this, I would absolutely suggest checking out the link in the description and having a look at these desks yourself and seeing if it would maybe suit you as well. The quality of it is absolutely incredible and I couldn't recommend it enough. So thank you once again, Flexispot, for sponsoring this video. I genuinely am incredibly happy with the desk. Okay, so first up, in no particular order, is something that I am very guilty of this, and it is definitely a lesson that I learned pretty quickly, and I'm going to share it onto you. And that is, when you do PVM or anything in the game that gathers you, like Slayer or whatever, that gets you salvages or any alchables whatsoever. For example, I have here these fire battle staffs. If I examine them, you're going to see that on the Grand Exchange, I can get about 6.8k for them, but if I high alch them, I can get 9.3k each. That's a huge difference. So the actual lesson for this one, or the thing to not do, is don't do what I used to do. Don't just take your alchables, like your salvage in these staffs, for example, to the max guild and then just sell them on the Grand Exchange like an absolute idiot. I used to do this because, one, I used to be like, oh, but guys, I have to sell it for the video so you guys know exactly how. No, I didn't. I could have put it in the alcha and said, in the next episode, we'll see how much we got. What you should do instead is either high alch them, which will obviously take time, so maybe not necessarily doing that one. But if you head to the Invention Guild, which you can either use this here or you can use a Grace of the Elves or just run there, head to the Invention Guild and set up an auto alcha. The auto alcha, surprisingly, will automatically high alch your items for you, and you just come back, and this works while you're logged off as well. All you need to do is put in the runes that are required for it and have it charged, and then you just put your items in, and then it'll tell you in 1 day and 22 hours these will all be high out. Even if you're logged off, this still works, and you can come back here and you can pick up your money. Now, I don't have anything in here right now, as you can see, but if I chuck all this stuff in here, I can come back in a little while, get my coins from here, and I'll make a lot more money from doing this than if I just sell them on the Grand Exchange, and I don't even have to think about it. Like, it's fine. I know it's going to take time, but it's still money that I've not had to do anything extra for. I would suggest doing this instead. Don't just chuck it on the Grand Exchange. I'll get here. Now, this may get changed in the future at some point, as the high alch does bring a lot of gold into the game, but for now, this is definitely something to keep in mind. Number 2 is an oldie but a goodie, and kind of still important, and still something that I get asked all of the time, and it's going to apply for 2 items, but for the same reasoning. It applies to 2 things, just at different timelines, and that is going to be, do not buy a Look of the Dwarves where's it at? And look at the dwarves until later on in your PVM journey. If you have other upgrades to get first, that are around about the same amount of GP, 82 million GP pretty much, for a look at the dwarves, you don't want to buy in this first. The reason being is it's a ring that, yes, it does give some stats, but nowhere near as good as anything else, and it doesn't really offer you all that much in terms of actually what people buy it for. People buy it for the extra 1% chance at a rare drop from a boss, thinking, but if I get the look of the dwarves, then of course that means I'm going to get more rare drops, which means I get more money, right? This is an investment. This is a long-term investment. It's going to pay off. It'll pay itself off. This is wrong. Eventually, yes, after like a long time, the ring will probably pay itself off. But this thing is so expensive that if you have other things that you could buy instead, you're definitely better off buying that instead. For example, if I look up how much are Cinderbanes, I've got a thing that about the same price. If you do not have Cinderbane gloves, get Cinderbane gloves instead of look at dwarves. There's so many different upgrades you could get instead, and you're going to benefit from that way more than getting a look at the dwarves, believe me. This 1% chance from getting a drop at bosses doesn't change all that much. It's not a big deal, and it's definitely something you can avoid and miss out on. I fell for this ages ago, and then I just hang on to it because I already had it, but it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. That being said, the same goes for a signet ring as well. Now, a signet ring, you won't be able to buy it on the Grand Exchange because it's over max cash. But again, this thing has a chance of doubling drops. Guys, you're not going to double a rare drop with this often whatsoever. You're not going to, it's just not going to, it's very rare that this is going to happen. It could double a random item from a drop, absolutely sure. But to double the rare as well, your chances are very slim, and it's definitely, you could spend all that money on a lot more stuff. This would be like a final purchase for PVM, for example, rather than getting it earlier on. But anyway, let's include that in there. A little bit of a, I think people have labeled the look of the dwarves as a bit of a noob trap these days, so stay away from that until you've got your other gear sorted out, and then come and get it back afterwards. Number 3 kind of leads off of number 2 in a way, not directly, but kind of. It's about gear upgrades and whatnot, and another thing that people make the mistake of quite a lot. And actually, the last stream I did, we had the exact same question, and it was someone asking, is it worth upgrading from Ganodermic armor to Elite Tectonic? Is this worth me doing? And the answer is yes. Like, of course it is. It's an upgrade. It's good. Elite Tectonic armor is best in slot, and it's something that's cheaper to upkeep than regular Tectonic. It's definitely something you want to get, but do not buy armor upgrades like that before getting weapon upgrades. So after a little bit of investigation, we asked the person in chat, what weapons have you got? What unlocks have you got? What abilities have you got? And they were on the tier 85 dual wield magic weapons, which again are still fine. These are all good. The wand of the the Swere, I don't freaking know. The Elder Wand and the Elder Orb, that's what they had. These are great weapons. These are really good weapons, especially with the Greater Concentrated Blast. But if you are going to be going from Ganodermic to Elite Tectonic, that's a good amount of money, which could be spent elsewhere. You want to upgrade weapons, you want to upgrade perks, you want to upgrade, I believe even prayers, anything that offers more DPS than an actual armor upgrade is going to benefit you a lot more. The amount of DPS increase you're going to get from going from like a Ganodermic armor to Elite Tectonic armor is so minimal in comparison to upgrading your weapons or getting like a new, like upgrading to Cinderbane gloves or getting like a good scripture or something like this. You're going to see much more benefit out of spending that money elsewhere. Upgrade your weapons first, then upgrade your perks, then upgrade like other stuff that offers more DPS than like just upgrading your armor. Armor is usually one of the latest things that you would upgrade in like an actual like gear set, because it just doesn't offer you that much, and DPS is king, and Ganodermic plus Animate Dead is going to block more damage than this anyway. So overall, you're better off just focus on the thing. For anyone who doesn't know, I will link down below if I remember, and if not, then someone remind me in the comments, please. The PVME Discord, I link them quite a lot because they're super helpful, has an upgrade order path. So I will link in the description to the actual PVME Discord, and they'll tell you, like, this is the next best thing that you can buy in terms of efficiency. Follow that along, makes life a lot easier. Number 4 is one that I'm bringing to this video because of our last video. Now I know that this video will probably have more long-term use than that one, and so it's worth mentioning it again. And that is going to be, don't get into bossing too soon. Don't like try and jump the gun and start PVMing and killing stronger bosses, or even just any bosses really, until you're actually ready for it. Keep in mind that bossing and PVM content like this is end game content, or pretty much end game content in most situations. If you're not quite at the end game yet, don't try and throw yourself at these bosses thinking that's the only way to make money. The best thing you can do in this situation is to progress your account first and then progress through killing bosses. Now, a lot of people get stuck in the actual trap of saying, well, how can I progress my account if I can't kill bosses to make money, but then I can't make the money to get the stuff to kill the bosses, and there's just a loop of like struggling, right? A lot of people do get stuck into this. The answer is you want to just take your time and slowly enjoy it. It takes time to upgrade your account. It takes time to get towards high levels and stuff, but you need to understand that's kind of part of the game as well. It's not just all about PVM, but at the same time, making 4 mil an hour when your bank is quite low is a lot, like, it's still pretty damn good, and the progress there is absolutely huge. But once you're a higher level, then you can make 10 mil an hour, 50 mil an hour, 20 mil an hour. And so the main focus you want to do early on is just focus purely on your account's levels, your stats, the stuff that you've got to actually like just get your account further into the game, do your quests, do any unlocks that you can get and stuff like that. These are going to make a massive difference in terms of you actually getting more money and being able to upgrade your account even further, and then get into PVM when you're ready. If you try and start PVMing with like subpar gear and subpar skills because you've not unlocked overloads yet, or you've not unlocked the DPS curses and all this sort of stuff yet, yes, you can probably still pull it off and you can probably kill these bosses, but the reason that it's not really worth doing is because if you spend 10 minutes killing a boss that should take you 3 minutes, it's not efficient. You're going to end up using way too much supplies to get through the boss fight, and also for the amount of time it takes you to kill the boss, by the time you actually get a drop, it's just not really going to be worth your time. So focus on your account first. Always put your account's stats and stuff first, and then when you're ready for that content, get in there, enjoy it a lot more. It is definitely the way to go about it. Our 5th and final one for this video is going to be, do not avoid using anything that costs a little bit of extra GP to give you extra DPS. Now, I'm not talking about getting gear upgrades and stuff here. I'm talking about things purely that you can buy and use before a fight. Things that you don't necessarily need to even add extra like effort to or anything like that. Things like vulnerability bombs, things like weapon poison, things like applying a smoke cloud during a fight. Like, you're going to have to do a little bit of extra effort with that, but it's once every 2 minutes. There's other things as well, like taking spiritual prayer potions with you, like taking a vitality potion with you. At places like Rakshas or in the Rockfall, you use vitality potion, you can keep DPSing and not worry about the rocks. There's many different things that you can do in different situations. There's many different ways to spend a little bit of extra money, but actually still get a lot of progress out of it. However, the amount of times, and I'm sure there's probably going to be people in this video as well that will comment or say in game or anything like that and say, it's not worth using vulnerability bombs. They're way too expensive for what they provide. It's not worth it. It's ridiculous. I don't know. Just because you can make like 30 mil an hour at a boss, 40 mil an hour at a boss, doesn't mean we all can. Honestly, vulnerability bombs are 100% worth the cost. The explanation I always use here is a vulnerability bomb gives 10% extra damage. If you look up how to get 10% extra DPS with buying gear and prayer codexes and all this sort of stuff, it would cost you an absolute fortune. A tier 99 prayer codex going from tier 95 is nowhere near 10% DPS increase, but costs you an absolute fortune for that prayerful codex. So keep in mind that yes, you are only getting this buff for 1 minute and you do have to keep using them, but the GP is absolutely worth it to throw these vulnerability bombs and speed up your kills, because speeding up your kills means that you save time, and time eventually does equal money. If it gets you an extra kill an hour or something like that at a boss, then happy days. But not only that, if you are killing a boss quicker, you are using less food, you are also feeling less stressed because the fight's easier because you're phasing quicker. It's just do it. Just use them. Use vuln bombs, use weapon poison, use spiritual prayer potions if you're in a Ripper demon, use smoke cloud, use all these extra things. Take advantage of it because a lot of them are very little effort and give you a hell of a lot of benefits out of it. So guys, do not avoid using these extra things. They are definitely worth your time and money. Anyway, guys, that brings us to the end of this video. I really do hope that you found it useful and that you enjoyed it. If you did, then please do leave a like and do subscribe to the channel if you are new, and check that you're also subscribed as well, as a lot of you guys that are subbed or think you are subbed actually aren't, because whenever I mention this, people go, holy crap, I didn't even notice. And so there we go. That being said as well, guys, if you actually did like the look of the Flexispot desk, I'm freaking loving it. I recorded that a couple of days ago now, but I freaking love this desk. It genuinely has changed my whole work environment. It's just better in so many ways. I'm stood up recording this right now. It's just so good. So Flexispot, thank you again so much for sponsoring the video and sending me out this desk. I really do appreciate it, and I do recommend anybody who has an interest in this sort of thing to check them out. There's a link in the description, like I said, and probably the pinned comment as well. But otherwise, channel members and Patreon subscribers, you guys also support the channel so much more than you probably realize. It helps out an absolute ton. And I don't know, thank you all so much. I appreciate it so much. Other than that, thank you everybody as well for watching the videos, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.